Welcome, everybody, to the College Football Weekly Pick'em Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. We are at the Final Four, brought to you by MyBookie.ag. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I want to welcome in my co-host. First up, Brian Schmidt.
Hey, everybody. Good to be here.
And
ready
of
for
course,
New Year's Eve.
Oh, sorry about that. And, of course, I'm sure you're getting ready for the Ohio State game. But also, we have former Alabama offensive lineman, played under Bear Bryant. Help me welcome to the show, Bill Searcy. How you doing, Bill?
I'm good, guys. Ready for some playoff action.
Well, we'll just get to what I know you want to talk about first, which is Alabama-Clemson. I think you guys go ahead and tell me your keys first. Bill, where do you think this game gets decided?
Well, all year long, Alabama has been unable to convert on third downs on offense and been unable to stop anyone on third down. I mean, if that continues on, it's going to be a long, long night. They've got to stop Clemson's quarterback from using his legs, and we've got to be able to move the ball against their defensive line, which is elite. And we haven't shown. I mean, truth be known, is we haven't shown we can do that since maybe early in the season. So we've got to keep our defense off the field. We can't do like last year and hang them out there for 99 plays again. If we do we won't have a chance.
Yeah, and I would think, Brian, when you look at this, I mean, my biggest key is whether Alabama can throw the ball on Clemson or not.
Yeah, I mean, whether they can throw the football, but more importantly is just the overall offensive consistency from Alabama, being able to do anything against Clemson. If they can't move the football and put some points on the board, they're going to struggle. Look, the bottom line is Clemson is going to put some points on the board. It's can Alabama, match it and get at least 1 point better at this point. Now, the one thing I will say is Alabama with the with the injuries that they had, I mean, they're now a little bit more healed. But to me, this is a marquee game.
Yeah, and Bill, when you look at the injury situation, where do they stand right now, especially with those linebackers?
I think they've got some people back healthy, but they lost Dylan Moses and the one middle linebacker who we drastically needed is still out. He's done, of course, and so we're still a little bit weak on defense. But here's the thing: is if Clemson can stop Alabama's rushing attack and make Jalen Hurts pass, that's what they've got to do to beat Alabama. They've got to stop Alabama's running attack. Now we've got enough run to run the ball, but they've been giving these elite running backs like 6-7 carries a game as of late. And somebody needs to hold the ball 20, 25 times tomorrow night and get 150 or so yards rushing. If we can run the ball, we've got a very, very good shot. It's in a position where we have to win by passing. I believe that's when we're in trouble.
Yeah, and I think this, especially Brian, when you got Brian Daboll, the new offensive coordinator, they do a lot of run-pass option concepts, and I think a lot of times where you don't get a lot of running is I think against Auburn, they ran the ball 17 or 18 times, but they ran it for 7 or 8 yards a carry. But with that run-pass option concept, the defense can kind of dictate what you can do as an offense because you want to take away the run game, number one, and then number two, you want to take away Hurts being able to run, and you want to force the third option, which Alabama doesn't want to do, which is to throw the ball.
Yeah, which is interesting because really most RPO teams, you don't mind if you have to throw the football. You feel comfortable with that. But with Alabama, it's a little bit different in that they would really rather be able to run the football either with running backs or with the quarterback. And I think, that's where sometimes I think a team like Clemson can really dictate to find, we're gonna force you to do what you really don't want to do. And Alabama has shown, at times this year where they struggle when teams are able to get them out of that running game and start dictating, hey, you need to throw the football, and they've struggled with that.
Yeah, and go ahead, Bill.
I was just going to say, and I think Clemson's defensive line is number one. It's better than last year, and I think they're an elite defensive line. They're great pass rushers, and if I don't know that Alabama's offensive line can hold them out long enough for us to do anything very far downfield. If we do, I think it's all going to have to be short stuff, kind of mid-range passes. And we haven't. If we had a great tight end, this would be an ideal time for him to show up. But we don't. At least not that we know of. So it's going to be tough because Clemson's got a really, really good defense. And I think their offense is okay. I don't think they're fantastic, but we don't have the defense we had last year. We don't have the elite pass rushers this year that we had last year. So, it's very different going into this game. It's different than it was going in last year.
Yeah, and Brian, when I look at this, I watched a little bit of film, and it seemed to me the teams that had the most success against Clemson's defense were teams that threw the ball on first down, second and medium, third and short, kind of throw the ball when they don't expect you to throw the ball. Teams that, get second and 10 and throw the ball, third and long and throw the ball are not very successful because that defensive line comes and gets you. So I would think the game plan for Alabama has to be to throw the ball on first down.
Well, usually against really good defenses, your success really rides on being able to do what they're not expecting. So that's throw the football on first down. If you can get yourself into that second and medium, third and short, you've got a chance for success. Where teams always run into problems against really, really elite defenses is, when that first and 10 turns into second and 10 and then, third and 8, and now they're pinning their ears back. But that's got to be the key. And kind of going back to something Bill said that, while Clemson's offense may not be as good as it was last year, I think in some ways, they're, maybe not as good. They're certainly very balanced in what they do, and their offensive coordinator just does a great job with the game plan. I think their game plans overall this year have been better because really the last couple of years, you just pretty much put the game in Deshaun Watson's hands and let him go. Well, now you're seeing them spread the ball over their whole offense, and so I think while their offense may not be as explosive as it's been, I think it's certainly you can't say that it's been a bad offense by any stretch. I think their offense is better now than it's in terms of their game planning because they're getting everybody involved.
Well, and I think people forget Kelly Bryant got hurt in that Syracuse game. Up to that point, they were scoring a lot of points, and he just got healthy the last couple games of the season, and they took it out pretty good on a really good Miami defense.
Yeah, this Clemson team, in my opinion, I feel like this Clemson team may be better than last year, just because I think they're better defensively. I think offensively, I think they do a great job of getting everybody involved on the offense. You knew with Deshaun Watson, you knew they were going to put the ball in his hands and let him go, and anybody that didn't do that, not a very good football coach. But now you're seeing really good game plans. You've seen some great adjustments. I've watched a couple of Clemson games where I thought their in-game adjustments have been really, really some top-notch. Some of the best in the nation. So to me, that's really a huge key. Is just I think Clemson's better in some ways than they were last year.
All right. So, Bill, how do you see this game turning out? Because the thing that really surprised me was when I look at it, Clemson's the underdog against Alabama, and when I look at these two teams, I don't see that.
I don't see it either. I don't think. I mean, I know that as far as Vegas is concerned, point wise, they're the underdog, but I don't think they are. I don't have the feeling that they're the underdog. I definitely feel like Alabama should think they're the underdog going into this game, especially the way they finished the season. While they sat at home while two teams played for the SEC championship. So they need to go in with the attitude of Alabama being the underdog, and I think it's a battle, man, and I think it's going to be a close game. What's the line? What is the line on this? 3?
I think the last time I saw it was 3 or 3.5.
Okay, I mean I think I may be way off base here, but I think it's every bit of a 3 or 4 point game. I don't think it's a blowout, surely, on either side. And it's Alabama's defense is going to be tested, and we just got to see what they can do.
All right, so Brian, what do you think? I mean, going into this game, I mean, to me, like I just said, I think Clemson's the better team. Now, I think a lot of people just see Alabama, that name, and they see Nick Saban, but Dabo Swinney's a hell of a football coach.
Yeah, he is. I think where everybody's kind of, and I noticed this right before we started the show. I saw flipping through some news articles, and I saw a news article talking about how Alabama's taking this personal, and Alabama feels disrespected that they're showing they want to show everybody, and it's kind of wait a minute, you didn't win your last game, you got in thankfully. Didn't play for the SEC championship. You got in thankfully because other teams lost. I don't know that it's a disrespect thing at all. But the one thing we all know that if you've got Nick Saban, you always have an opportunity. I feel like Saban, Sweeney, and Urban Meyer, are 3 best coaches in the country, and anytime they're on the sidelines, you got an opportunity. This is a game where you got 2 of the best coaches in college football.
Yeah, so who you picking?
I'm going with Clemson. I just feel like they're the better team. I feel like situationally, I just think that they're a better team than they were last year, offensively, defensively, and I'm going to say Clemson 31, Alabama 26.
All right, Bill.
Well, I'm going to shock you because I'm going to take the points in Clemson.
Okay.
Because I cannot. I mean, and I know all year long I've taken Alabama just because that's my team. But on this game, I'm going to take the ones that I would put my money on, and that would be Clemson with the points. Don't get me wrong. I think Alabama has a chance to win the game, but I think a lot of things have to happen in their favor, and not many things not happen in their favor for them to stay close and be in this game. So I'll take Clemson and the points on my pick.
All right, I'm going to take Clemson into points too, and I think Clemson wins this game by more than 10. I just think I don't think I watched Auburn's defense pretty much shut down Alabama. Jalen Hurts is going to have to win this game, and I really like Jalen Hurts. But I don't think outside of Calvin Ridley, there's a lot of skill position players there that can threaten Clemson.
Well, the problem is, Mike, is I'm not sure about that, but I will say this, is that Jalen Hurts has been very hesitant to go to any other skilled people but Calvin Ridley. And I think that's part of the problem because they've got some good young receivers that he can throw the ball to that are very capable, but he has shown that he is pretty much unwilling. When he looks to pass, he's looking for number 3 most of the time. And if he's not open, that's when he runs. So, unless he does something different this week and decides that he's going to use both of them. But I hope you're wrong, but, it could be a 10-point game.
All right. That brings us to the next game. I know Bill loves the Oklahoma Sooners and their offense and Baker Mayfield, just from Facebook posts I saw. But we've got Georgia against Oklahoma. Brian, what's your initial thoughts looking at this game?
really the only thing I've kind of kept going on in my head is one thing that I keep seeing people talk about is, okay, Oklahoma's offense versus Georgia's defense. Oklahoma has not played great defenses, a lot of that, but at the same time, to me, I think Alabama is one of the best offenses in the country. I think they do a lot of really, really good things offensively. I mean, before you even get into who their quarterback is, to me, the key is can Georgia win a shootout? I think this game has definitely got all the makings of a shootout. And can Georgia score enough points against Oklahoma?
Well, I think this, Bill. I think this game's a shootout. I think Georgia's done. I think the only way they can win this game is to use Nick Chubb, those big running backs behind that offensive line, and try to just play keep away against Mayfield.
Yeah, you definitely got to try to keep the ball out of his hands. And the problem is all year long people have tried to make Baker Mayfield one-dimensional. He's done that yet, and he's kind of had his way with most teams. And, Georgia's got a good defense, and I think it kind of comes down to a battle between Baker Mayfield and Georgia's linebackers. So I don't know if Georgia's defense is good enough to stop Oklahoma. I do know that if Oklahoma doesn't stop Chubb and that brigade of running backs, then it will be a shootout. They've got to force Georgia's young quarterback to throw the ball to win. That's what their job is. And Georgia has to find a way to stop Baker Mayfield. If they don't, it could be a track meet.
Yeah, and Brian, I know you'll like this, but I think there's a lot of the air raid concepts only with a fullback and a tight end on this Oklahoma offense. Fullback Dimitri Flowers, I think, is a huge key. And that's a guy, if you sleep on, he had like 7 receptions for almost 100 yards against Ohio State. And then I think the big killer is that tight end Andrews. He's 6'5", 265. Yeah. They spread him out a lot of times in the slot, and I don't see how you can defend that with what Georgia's personnel is.
Well, what people don't remember about the air raid is in its beginnings, it was an offense that used a fullback and a tight end. If you look back at the old Kentucky teams,
the Valdosta State teams,
97, 98, Oklahoma into that, Valdosta State, they use the fullback tight end. What really has happened here is they've everything cycles, and what Oklahoma has done is you have a great tight end, you have a great fullback, they're not doing you any good on the sideline. So you're seeing really the old school air raid concept with the fullback and tight end, but you're seeing some of the new school air raid concepts. A lot of things that they do with, they've taken some of the concepts and they've I should say, modernized them. I guess they're doing some different things, and it obviously it works real well. But the thing it is, when you have a great tight end and a great fullback, it's a matchup nightmare, and that's what they do. I mean, they do a great job of getting the matchups. You'll see them take the tight end. You'll see him, spread out in the slot. But then there's also times where you'll see him, and they almost like use him like a Gronk in New England, where they'll put him, on a single receiver side and do some things with that. So it becomes a matchup nightmare, and that's the one thing that when you can have a great tight end and a great fullback, you can create matchups and mismatches all over the field.
Yeah, and in the end, I don't see how they keep up with them unless they've come up with something in this last month, which I'm sure they probably have, that they think can combat this. Yeah,
I mean, the real key is going to be, again, with Oklahoma's offense, it's an air raid concept, but what they really do a great job is finding matchups. So really now Georgia has to come back and say, okay, what gives us the best opportunity to match up against them? The problem I see for Georgia is going to be initially you might be able to have something that Oklahoma hasn't seen or hasn't dealt with. But Oklahoma is another one of those teams that does a great job of in-game adjustments, and they'll find what they want. They've done it all year long. I mean, Ohio State game was a great example of that. You've seen all here, but Ohio State was a great example. They found the matchup, they found what they wanted, and they just beat Ohio State over the head with it.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that. I can't stand Ohio State, but it's amazing we're friends. You're a Steeler fan, I'm a Buckeye fan, and I'm a Bengals fan, and I don't know. But Bill, you've seen Georgia play probably more than us even. They got Jake Fromm at quarterback. Is Jake Fromm good enough to pull this off?
Not without their running game being really strong. They've got to run the ball. If Oklahoma can shut Chubb and that group of backs down, I don't think Fromm can beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, but I don't really see Oklahoma shutting them down. Now, from what you've seen, Bill, how good is Georgia's offensive line? Because when I watch them on film, they look average, maybe slightly above average, but they don't look like world beaters.
They're okay. You hit it right on the head. I mean, they're average. They do a pretty good job. But what I mean is that Georgia against Auburn. If Oklahoma can do to Georgia's offense what Auburn did, it'll be the same type of ending. And that's shut Chubb and Sony Michel and those guys down. I just don't think that Fromm can beat them with his arm. And Oklahoma's defense, is not that great. But if they can shut those running backs down or slow that running attack down, I just don't think they can beat them.
All right, so you don't sound real big on SEC teams here. Are you picking Oklahoma to beat Georgia then?
What's the line on this one?
I don't even know. I think, hold on here. I'll pull it up real quick.
The reason I'm asking you, obviously, I think it's a close game. Maybe a 2 or 3 point game, and so just depending on the line, depends on which one I'm going to pick.
All right. I think the last time I saw it was like 5 or no, wait. I think Oklahoma was actually an underdog.
Oklahoma was underdog?
I think so, because I think I parlayed that with the Clemson underdog. Not that I would ever.
Well, I'm taking Oklahoma. I would pick Oklahoma in that case.
All right, I was still pulling.
I think Oklahoma wins the game outright.
All right, Brian.
I think Oklahoma's going to win this, and I'm not sure that it's going to be real close, but I think Oklahoma's going to win this 34-20.
All right, as of right now, Oklahoma is a 1.5 point favorite. So.
Yeah, I'm still taking Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's pretty much even. Yeah, I like this by double digits also. I think Oklahoma wins it. I hope Oklahoma and Clemson win just so we can sit here next week and talk about Clemson's #1 defense against Oklahoma's #1 offense, Bill, because that will be a hell of a game.
Yeah. It would be. It'll be a great matchup. That's for sure.
Yeah, because the thing I worry about is if you get Alabama upset in Clemson, I don't know, especially with the linebacker situation in Alabama, I think they'd have a real hard time holding Oklahoma down.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to be careful what you wish for, right? And so I'm being very cautious in what I'm wishing for here. And if, like you said, if Alabama is able to get by Clemson, I'm not sure I really want to see them play Oklahoma this year. But hey, but if it's Oklahoma and Clemson, we got a great game to look forward to.
So when you look at Baker Mayfield, Brian, is he worth the top 10 pick in the NFL draft, or is he Johnny Manziel Jr.?
I think he's a lot more worth it than Manziel was. My jury's still out. I think in the right situation, the right team, doing the right things, I think he could be very good. He's got a lot more upside to me than Menzel does.
So you're saying if the Browns pick him, he's screwed?
Pretty much.
Hey, put it like this: would you like to see him become a Pittsburgh Steeler?
Oh, in a heartbeat. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I like Mayfield better too. I mean, I think Mayfield has a better arm. I think he's got better pocket presence, because Manziel looked like a lot of times, even when he was successful, like a chicken with his head cut off back there.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I think he's he's got to be a better leader in the clubhouse. The guys seem to rally around him, and so I think he'd be a good positive influence to have on your team.
All right, guys, we're at about a half hour, so we're going to wrap this up. Any final words of wisdom, Bill?
Nope. I'm getting on a train tomorrow morning and going to New Orleans and try to pull the tide through, man. That's it.
All right. Hopefully we can get you back on here next weekend, talk about this national championship game. Also, make sure you go to Amazon, look up Bill Searcy's High Tide. Great book. Make sure you get that. Brian, any final words?
No, I'm going to continue to enjoy my holiday weekend and hopefully get to watch some great football, because I got to be honest, I'm glad we really didn't do any bowl shows.
They were crap. They were crap.
It has absolutely been atrocious.
Horrible. Yeah.
That's why we didn't do it. I keep looking at these matchups, and it used to be when around Christmas time there start being good games, but there's just not. Ohio State USC is interesting tonight to me, just to watch Sam Darnold. Plus, it's Ohio State and USC, but they need to play that in a Rose Bowl. But this is stupid. I mean, we've got games tonight with two teams that are 6-6. Playing on December 28th, 29th?
Oh, and here's the thing with this, and I'll get on my soapbox real quick and get off. But my thing with, I don't have problems with the 6-6 team, especially, like a New Mexico State that hasn't seen a bowl game, I think, probably since the Kennedy administration. But I have a really hard time when you have these bowl games, a couple days before New Year's Eve. I don't mind those games being back, on the 21st, 22nd of December. But, at this point, I'd like to see some, actually decent football. And I'm not seeing it.
Kentucky Northwestern doesn't cut it for me.
No, it didn't for me either.
No, I'd rather watch those two play basketball.
No, I will say the Texas A&M game today. I mean, that was a great high-scoring game, but you kind of figured it was going to be. But the TCU game last night was a good one. Oklahoma State was a good one. But I mean, I'm sitting here reeling off three.
Yeah, but it's not so much if it's a good game or not. The question is, do you want to watch that game? So if it turns into a good game, you at least saw it.
Exactly. Which I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've watched a bowl game yet.
I haven't watched any either.
Ohio State tonight, I'll watch. But I haven't watched a game. Excuse me, I haven't watched a game yet.
All right, Bill, you watch any bowl games yet?
I'm right there with you guys. I've watched little pieces here and there, and I watched a little bit of Kentucky tonight. I probably will watch the game later tonight. But there's so many games I don't want to watch 6-6 teams play each other. I'd rather wait till the big games and watch 2 or 3 good ones and be done with it.
I don't really want to watch 7-5 or 8-4 teams play either.
No, me either.
I mean, it's kind of like hockey anymore, where everybody that's not below 500 makes the playoffs. Well, it's exactly like that. But who the hell wants to see Florida State? I know they beat the crap out of Southern Miss, but they didn't even deserve to be in a bowl game. They were terrible all year.
Exactly. I just don't want to see games like that. And they beat the crap out of Southern Miss. Well, they're supposed to beat the crap out of Southern Miss. And so, look, if you have a bad year, stay home one time, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe your players will work harder the next year.
I remember when Notre Dame used to turn down bowl bids.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you didn't go to bowls back then when you were 6-6. You were ashamed, actually, to even be seen.
Yeah, hell, actually, if you look late 60s, early 70s, there'd be teams 10-2 that wouldn't even get an invite.
Right.
Because they only had a handful of bowl games until everybody at the NCAA realized, hey, we can make a lot of money off of this.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
Well, hell, my phone's ringing, so I'm going to have to get off here.
All right, guys.
We will be back next week with the National Championship Show. Make sure you check out thegruelingtruth.net. Our Boxing Legends show, we had an interview with George Foreman last week. Make sure you check that out. You can hear all of our shows on iHeart, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher. Anywhere you find sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Brian Schmidt, Bill Searcy, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.